Plyometrics are one of the best ways to develop increased speed, power and reactivity. In this video, we're going to take a look at plyometrics and how you can get the most from them. Simply put, plyometric exercises involve a quick recoil from the stretch to the reflex action, so the eccentric to the concentric muscular actions. Plyometric exercises such as hopping and bounding and drop jumps capitalize on the body's ability to return energy very quickly, naturally and without volitional fault. Plyometrics involve what's known as the stretch shortening cycle. There is an involvement on the part of the central nervous system, and we can develop the central nervous system so that it can respond more quickly and more powerfully to the impact, thus returning greater force. It is important to understand that at the outset. Plyometrics have a number of advantages over weight training when it comes to developing power. Well, for a start, the volitional nature of them is a big plus point. If you're squatting a big weight, 1 or 2 reps, then your neural system has to supply that energy in order to do that. However, with a drop jump, for example, as long as you are intent on reacting from the contact, you will do so virtually automatically. As I've said earlier, the stretch reflex is a natural mechanism. Having said what I've just said, you still do need to be focused in the zone when doing your plyometrics. Now, I'm going to focus on drop jumps initially. Those are jumps where you step off a platform and usually land on 2 feet to react to the contact. They have been shown over decades to improve reactivity and leg stiffness, for example. To get the most from them, the drop height, however, needs to be controlled. There's quite a lot of research on the optimum height for drop jumps. The founding figure behind plyometrics was a Soviet coach known as Yuri Voroshansky, and he advocated a drop height of around 75 centimeters to maximize reactivity, or what he called a coefficient of reactivity, which is similar to reactive strength index. These are things that I will talk a little bit more later on in the video. However, other coaches, and from personal experience, have discovered that, and also sports science, that lower drop heights might actually be more relevant for developing speed and optimum reactivity, around 60 centimeters, for example. So how do you know if you're getting the most from your drop jumping? There are a couple of things that you need to focus on. 1, the degree of knee bend. That needs to be relatively shallow, and 2, the speed of reaction. To develop increased power, you need to be able to react as quickly as possible. So on contact, don't think exclusively about gaining height, rather think about gaining increased speed. If you step off a box, land, and you give at the knees before you go up, then that indicates that the box height, or the drop height I should say, is too great. Now, there are a number of tests that you can do to understand your reactive strength index, and there are a couple of apps that you can get that can do this. However, they're not 100% accurate, and also they sometimes encourage you to go for a maximum height. Now, if you do that, then the time on the ground is going to be slower. If you were to do lots of drop jumps, emphasizing height and a lower contact speed, then you're not going to necessarily develop the right type of contact speed, leg stiffness and reactivity that's going to enhance your jumping. There are other ways to measure reactive strength index, and they utilize a false platform and the height gained. And there are other ways as well which also look at the ground contact time. So if you are able to have those tests done, you need to make sure that you're not comparing one type of reactive strength index against another type of reactive strength index. And as I said previously, the tests have to have a relevance to event performance. I hence believe it's better to use subjective criteria as the major way of looking at how your reactivity is improving. So that's via your coach or by yourself, and understanding, feeling, seeing how you're reacting to the contacts. They have to be quick, as I've said. I emphasize to my jumpers, it is all about speed of contact. The height gain will come later. And as I said in my last video on quad dominance, you have to triple extend. You have to move through the foot, the knee and the ankle when leaping upwards, jumping upwards. Then you're going to get greater transferability again into your sprinting and jumping. Don't try to muscle it up with the quads. Don't bend and leap upwards. That's not what happens in sprinting and jumping. Another interesting thing about drop jumps is that most of the research indicates that overly loading the drop in terms of the height, or using weighted vests or handheld weights, for example, does not improve the coefficient of reactivity. So if you're exclusively looking at speed of reaction, then the 40, 60 centimeter, potentially up to 75 centimeter drop height is the optimum one. However, I do higher drop jumps on occasions and also do loaded drop jumps as well. This is because it's a bit like weight training, where you manipulate different loadings and a number of reps and sets to create different effects. If you do have a slightly slower ground contact, then there's a greater emphasis on strength development from that effort. So you can layer your plyometric drop jump training in such a way as to bring about different physiological adaptations across the training year. Same applies to drop height. So if we were to use just a 10-15 centimeter drop, then the emphasis is on the ankle joint in terms of reacting to the contact. If you do go to 1.10 m and do a drop jump, you still must emphasize the speed of reaction. It's just that at that end of the height spectrum, you'll be working strength more than speed. Although, of course, because of the stretch reflex involved, it's going to be a powerful jump still. The sports science behind the drop jump and the way the body reacts to the stretch reflex is quite complex, and the central nervous system, as I've indicated, is involved. Now, there are tendons, goggly, never can say it properly. I've put it on the screen, tendons, and those protect your muscles from being overstretched. It's those that put the brakes on and then allow the muscle to ping back. The muscle fibers themselves are more excitatory and are able or wanting to increase their power output, but they need those tendons, that reaction, to protect them in the first place. Otherwise, they are in danger of being damaged. Also very important to consider that the majority of force return and absorption happens through the tendons, with some research indicating that that can be as much as 70% of the energy return. So the tendons absorb and respond, then the muscle fibers get in on the act. Obviously, it's not so split. Everything happens at a similar time, but it's the tendons that initially create the absorption and return of energy, then pulling, helping the muscles to contribute additionally to that force. That's partly why shallow angles of ground contact are beneficial, because it's in the first percentages of range of movement when the tendons in particular start to do their job. Hopefully the information that I've given you in this video will give you a greater understanding of how to use drop jumps in your training programs. As usual, if you've got any specific questions on the subject matter of this particular video, then please leave them in the comment section below or through my other social media. And please do subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification icon so that you'll be notified as to when I upload new content. And do give this video a thumbs up and a like, as it all helps to promote the channel. On the subject of power and speed enhancement and development, I've got some new kit that I'm going to be trialing, Lila Exogen. If you load, for example, with even 10 grams at the end of your leg, on your ankle, that force is multiplied many times due to the lever principle. If you want to find out more about the products, then do get in contact with me.